Welcome to High Infidelity, the best cheating videos on YouTube. If you enjoy this content, remember to subscribe and turn on notifications. Now let's get into the video.
Girlfriend female 21 is second-guessing me male 20 visiting her next week due to my horror bad psych trip. PLZ help. Hello, everyone. So first and foremost, some context. Due to distance, my girlfriend and I separated up in the summer. This resulted in a really healthy split. We stayed in contact and are now communicating again. I'm planning to pay her a visit on Sunday, or at least that's what I'm hoping. Basically, I tried shrooms for the first time a few nights ago. It had been a nightmare. I threw some booze into the mix, and it all went worse from there. Coming up, I texted her, wishing her a good night and promising to call her shortly. I didn't bring up the mushrooms. She is the sort that is okay with it since she does it herself. When I peeked, the crap hit the fan. Bad. My whole understanding of reality was twisted. Everything frightened me. Any concept or whatever I thought about would be scaled 1000x and have CRWZY illogical meaning, was the one emotion I recall having. For example, I recall my ceiling fan turning counterclockwise, left. Is my life going to hell because my fan is moving to the left? I wondered. Am I being left behind and abandoned because my fan is traveling in this direction? Yeah, that's insane. It was terrifying. I passed out as it escalated into a full-fledged panic attack. I recall seeing her share a picture of a tattoo she was getting and replying, "I love it." She responded to my DM with "thank you." Remember what I mentioned about my emotions and ideas being distorted? Hey, she didn't reply to my SMS message, I reasoned. So, in a hurry and oblivious to reality, I sent her around 30 texts. I hope you're having fun. I'm sorry I'm a burden, you don't deserve this. I'm constantly burning ends. I'll be cheering for you from the sidelines in life. Or anything equally absurd. I would never consider or grasp being sober and coherent. Scary. Mushrooms and I are inseparable. You're probably thinking that this was a personal attack on her. Lol. Nah. I ended up bombarding my boss with the same sort of blacked out text. I had no clue until I was summoned into HR this morning and had the messages played back to me since I had deleted the thread and had forgotten about it. That's when I became terrified. I contacted her about the job scenario and stated that it was a common occurrence that had nothing to do with our relationship or the things I said. It might have been anybody in my life, family members, friends, or acquaintances. Anyone. We chatted on the phone the night following the event, and I tried all I could to explain to her why this wasn't the case. Everything I claimed was completely untrue in regards to her. It might have been anybody I was messaging. So I did it to my boss as well. She said that she needs time to consider things. We'll chat again later today to complete everything and see where we stand. I discussed the job problem to her this morning through text to assist her realize that this was a worldwide issue, not a relationship one. I screwed up by taking the mushrooms and not informing her. And to tell her not to be surprised if I wind up sending some or if it hits the fan since I've never done anything like this before. I'm really heartbroken that she's reconsidering coming to see me after all of this. I didn't mean anything I said, practically nothing. It was a blunder on my part. Is there anything you could advise me on what to tell her based on how I've stated everything? Is there anything I can tell her about mushrooms? I was blacked out in a horror film, terrified to my core. I'm never going to do those again, and I'd want for her to give me an opportunity to prove that wasn't the real me. Please assist. The Council of Ant is really welcomed. Thank you so much, and God bless. Story 2. Possible to overcome physical abuse in a relationship. My boyfriend and I have been dating for 3 years and are both 31 years old. The first year was fantastic and we hit it off right away. I had my doubts about him at times, but he assured me that he wouldn't let me go and that I were his future, among other things. I was really toxic for him for about a year and a half. When things were going well, I would start weekly disputes about little matters. This irritated him, and he attempted to flee many times. With retroactive jealousy, I felt quite anxious and wanted frequent reinforcement that I was better than his ex. I then assumed he liked one of his female friends' Instagram photos and requested that he unfollow her, which he did. Initially, he continually reassured me that no one had ever come near to me and that he had never felt this way before. However, it was insufficient for me. He became weary of being kind with me, and after about a year of verbally abusing him, he began to do the same. My close family member died earlier this year, and he came up to console me. A few weeks later, I took everything out on him and we took a break. So I see this as him not being there for me, but realizing that I was probably to blame. It was also really difficult not to be able to see him during COVID lockdowns, which exacerbated my concerns. We had intended to marry after 2 years. However, I postponed it since I thought we weren't prepared, and I wanted a genuine proposal. It was difficult due to lockdowns not being able to go anywhere nice. He booked Paris earlier this year. COVID canceled it. He rebooked for summer. COVID canceled it again, and his plans are currently on hold until next month, I believe. I've bugged him about the proposal, claiming that I don't believe he's committed to me. He informs me that in his view, a ring/proposal does not equate commitment and that he is very committed to me. He claims that it is just as simple for him to leave after a proposal as it is now, and that it will make no difference. He informed me that the reason for the delay was because he wanted it to be special abroad, but COVID wouldn't allow it, and my behavior hasn't been fantastic. It made me feel like sh*t, like if I'm unwelcome. Then there was physical violence. I struck him once when he shouted at me, and he grabbed my arms and gripped them forcefully on one occasion. He planned a special trip for us. I made us late and was being a total brat. And then I hit him the next day in retaliation. He just last week grabbed my hair, so my head moved back and forth 3 times, after I got up in his face about how he finds another female incredibly attractive. He has repeatedly assured me that he does not, but it's just my insecurity talking. He explained to me that he did it because he despises being accused of something he is not. I was really taken aback the day he grabbed my hair. I did some research and discovered that is known as reactive abuse. I know my boyfriend isn't inherently abusive, has never done it before, and would most likely never do it to someone else. But I forced him to do it. Everyone kept telling me it was definitely done between us two, and my boyfriend continued telling me we weren't meant to be. But I couldn't bring myself to quit it, and I realized how much I loved him, although he kept telling me that's not love as I never showed it. He was delighted for us to stop it and kept asking me what was so great about our relationship that I wanted to keep it, but I would have been so sad to leave it knowing it was all my fault. We both agreed to go to treatment. I realized I'm screwed up and narcissistic. I demand everything to be done to for me and am highly self-centered. He's constantly told me that I don't do enough for us, which is true, since he does a lot, weekend excursions, constant phoning, and he frequently felt like I was a random body who showed no affection, that he received more from his work friends. So I resolved to work on it, arranged a vacation, and resumed baking for him. I used to do this in the early days. All of this was much appreciated by him, and he proceeded with his travels. I also went out of my way to do other things for him, such as words of love, little surprise presents, and simply being a wonderful partner in general. The essential thing, I believe, was to be mindful of avoiding beginning trivial debates. It's been a few months, and the connection has improved dramatically. It's almost as if they're in a relationship. This is all well and good, but I can't help but worry if it's now too good to be true. People often state that reversing abusive behavior is very difficult. I'm just wondering whether it's feasible that the abuse will resurface or if we're genuinely on to something positive. Were we correct to keep the relationship going?